Good morning, everybody. I am Trev. I'm the communications manager here at Colonial Church, and I've been asked to share a little bit about one of Colonial's distinctives, and that's the arts. And if there's one art in particular that I have always been drawn to, it's the art of story and storytelling. Ever since I was a kid, I've always been drawn to stories. When I was back in my middle school days, I'd spend my summers holed up in my room, and I would pretend like I was the Minnesota Twins beat reporter, and I'd spend hours poring over player performances and stat lines, looking for patterns and trends. And I would watch games, and I would write a game summary for each one, looking for kind of the through line for the story for each game. And I think what's fascinating, what's always been fascinating for me about stories, and I think what draws all of us to stories in general, is this idea of an inciting incident. And I don't want to nerd out on you too much, but really an inciting incident is just the beginning of any story. An inciting incident really is just something that breaks into a character's life and disrupts the order and the balance of life as usual for them, and forces the character into a new set of questions and a new set of choices that really set the stage for the rest of the story. And when you think about it, inciting incidents are all around us in our day-to-day lives. And sometimes they're big and dramatic. Sometimes they're really not that dramatic, and they're just kind of couched in our ordinary lives. Sometimes they feel essentially positive, like becoming a parent for the first time. Sometimes they feel essentially negative, like a conflict with a friend. And sometimes you're not even really sure if they're a positive or a negative thing. They just kind of are there, and they just force you to act in some way regardless. And I think, if I had to think about inciting incidents for this church in particular, really, since I've been here, the one that sticks out to me is probably the same one that sticks out to you. It's this process that we've gone through in the last year to consider whether or not to change the name of the church. And regardless of whether it's a good thing or a bad thing or a neutral thing, it's certainly an inciting incident, in that it brings up a whole new set of questions and a whole new set of choices. Certainly, whether or not to change the name of the church, that's obviously one, but also these much deeper questions of, what does it mean to be the church? What does it mean for Colonial to be the church for the next 75 years of its life together? What does it mean to embody Welcome Beloved? What does it mean to live out Welcome Beloved? What does that value mean to this church? And how does it apply practically? I think my hope and my prayer for us as a collective and as a church is that we would have the eyes to see deeper than just the disruption of this moment that we're all in. As followers of Jesus, we follow after a God that is in the habit of saying, "Behold, I am doing a new thing. Now it springs forth. Do you not perceive it?" I wonder for us, more than just the kind of surface questions of whether or not we're going to consider changing our name again, more deeply than that, I wonder, what are the new things that through this moment that God is inviting us into, no matter what lies ahead for us? may we have the courage and the conviction to encounter and be encountered by the God who meets us in the chaos and traffic of our ordinary lives, and who in the middle of those moments is calling out all kinds of new goodness and beauty and truth. And as we listen to that, and as we listen for that new story, may we find new ways to participate in it into the next 75 years.